Welcome to Ready, Set, Collaborate with Wanda Pearson. This is where ideas spark, connections grow, and collaborations fuse success. Tune in for inspiring stories, expert insights, and game-changing conversations. Let's build, connect, and thrive together. Remember, collaboration is the key to success.
Welcome to the Ready, Set, Collaborate podcast with Wanda Pearson. And I have my girlfriend, my girl that knows about money management, Lisa Stringer-Bailey. Lisa, welcome to the podcast. I truly appreciate it. And I've been trying to get you on. Oh, she had to remind me, remember what? I'm supposed to be on your podcast. And I said, oh, Lord, let me get her on my podcast now because people need to hear about this. It's 2025 and we need to get our money management in order. And also our financial situation in order. So, Lisa, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then I want to talk about your bio real quick.
Okay, thank you so much, Miss Wanda, for having me on your podcast today. I am super honored and privileged to be here. My name is Lisa Stringer-Bailey. I'm the owner and creator of Triple M Money Management Matters. I educate women on how to make more money, save more money, and most importantly, protect their money. And I educate on using life insurance to protect your income, protect your family members, yourself, your significant others, your children, your mama and them, your daddy and them, your cousin and them, honey. Anybody that you love and care about should be covered with life insurance.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, you was telling about, I want to talk about your bio here. So you gave us some great information, but I want to talk about your bio because you got a lot more than what you're doing there to help people. So Lisa Stringer-Bailey is the owner and creator of Triple M Money Management Matter. Remember, it matters. Triple M serves women and their families with financial education and money management. She shows women how to manage money, save money, and protect their money. Lisa has a master's degree in accounting and finance. She began her financial career in the U.S. Navy as a procurement and budget specialist for 9.5 years. She worked in the banking industry for 17 years. Her current position is a credit analyst for a major oil and gas company. Lisa empowers her clients to have financial peace of mind. She motivates her clients to think differently about money by keeping their mindset positive and engaging in financial education. She teaches how to prioritize, pay themselves first, and build wealth for the future. Lisa is an advocate of learning new things, especially about finances and wealth generation. She understands the money struggle, and it is her heart desire to help lessen that burden. Connect with Lisa, and we're going to put that on the show notes. But definitely, Lisa, thank you so much for being on the podcast. I learned some about you here. I didn't know you was in the Navy and you was in the banking. And
Yes, ma'am.
wow. So she knows her stuff. So no, but welcome once again, Lisa, for
Thank
being on the
you.
show. I truly appreciate that. This is awesome. And you told us a little bit about yourself. Let's get right into some of the questions we had.
Okay.
So your journey, how did it begin to get you into Triple M Money Management Matters?
Okay, that came about 10 years ago, when my father actually passed away without life insurance. And 2 months later, my sister passed away without life insurance. So this took me in particular, really my whole family, in a financial whirlwind, because we was like, where's the life insurance? I thought my father had that together. We always think our parents know it all. They got their stuff together. He has property, he got land, he got assets. He worked all his life, had money, but he didn't have the life insurance. So when it came time for the burial expenses and all that fell on me as the oldest daughter. And so that made me take a hard look at my own finances. Because guess what? I did not have a savings in insight of the amount of $10,000, which is the minimum between $7,000 for a burial expenses, a funeral, the whole thing. So long story short, I went into kind of a depression because I'm in the financial industry. And I was like, I thought I knew this. I thought I knew what to do. I thought I had my stuff together. But me and God, we had a come to Jesus meeting, and he was like, you ain't got your stuff together. And you should be, because this is your purpose. That's really when I discovered my purpose. as a financial professional to educate people, to educate families that life insurance should be a part of your money plan. It should be a part of your budget. And it's one of those things that people don't want to talk about because it's death and then nobody want to think about death. But God says we all going to die, right? And we don't know the hour nor the minute that it's going to happen. So we got to be prepared. God was like, I need you to tell my people. I need you to start talking about this. And so we created together Triple M Money Management Matters, which is named after my sister because my sister's name was Marsha Michelle Millsap, and she had a car tag that said Triple M. And when God showed me that, He said, "Money management matters. That's what your business is going to be." So that's how that came about.
I love that. I love that. It's so true because the same thing with me. I was the oldest, and my mother had back then only a $5,000 policy.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, okay, that should pay for the the funeral and the burial. And the undertaker said, "No, this is just for the funeral." I said, "Oh my God!" I said, "Okay." So I had to come up with the money, me and my brother, to
Yeah.
bury her. They don't open up that ground until you put that money down and you pay.
The
They don't do
facts.
that. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yep, yep. So, yes. And another thing that you talk about that when I started networking, I start talking about wills, right?
hmm
People don't want to talk about that. They don't want to talk about it. I remember this one lady said, "I'm not going to die soon."
How
Really?
you know?
You don't know when you're going to die. Okay,
That's
our family, you don't know when it's your time up. So
that's right.
it's better to be prepared. So I appreciate you telling that, telling us about that because that is so important. Life insurance and making sure you got your stuff in order is so
Yes.
important. How can people create a realistic budget and actually stick to it by what you said to be able to manage your family life insurance and financial? How can they do that?
The number one thing that I tell my clients, and which is a part of my coaching program, is you have to acknowledge it. You have to face what you got. You got to sit down and take some time with your money. Okay. When you are working a job, a lot of times we're just working 9 to 5, 40, 50, 60 hours a week. And we're not taking the time to see where our money is going. That's what a budget is, or I call it a money plan. A lot of people get restrictive and with the word budget, they don't want to do it. So I say, let's try to plan it. You like planning parties, we like planning events, planning our vacations. Let's plan our money. So just take some time out every single day or every week, every 2 weeks, how often you get paid. Take some time, have a date with your money, put it on your calendar, give yourself 30 minutes to an hour to sit down and plan your money. You need to know where every single cent, penny of your money is going. Okay. Therefore, you can allocate it to the places it need to go, like in life insurance. Okay. I always tell my clients, pay yourself first. That's the savings part. Make sure you have something going into an emergency savings account and then allocate money out to your needs. We know we need housing. We know we need shelter. We need heat, lights, all that. That's good. But also put the life insurance in there as a need. Just like you need car insurance, you need health insurance, you need house insurance, you need life insurance. So that needs to go in there with the needs and not just at the end of whatever you have left over, which 9 times out of 10, we ain't got nothing left over.
Yeah,
So that's
yeah,
why we don't have the life insurance.
absolutely. And I start calling my legal insurance. So you got all these other things, you need legal insurance, right? So
That's right.
it's so important because like I said, you just never know. I just had a niece that died at 38 years old.
Wow. I'm so sorry.
And like you said, life insurance is so important, but a lot of us don't think that, especially growing up in our generation. Nobody
Yes.
talked to us about that
Right.
later, and then it was it's just a shame. So,
Right.
so let me ask you something here. Another question. So, what are the best investment options for beginners? What would you suggest?
You speaking of investing in
Financial,
as a beginner, I would say just set your sights on investing in a good high yield savings account. Okay. We want to start there, especially if you are on a tight budget, you're just getting out of school, maybe, or you just landed that job where you finally getting a substantial amount of money. Start with a high yield savings account. I worked in the banking industry for 17 years, so I know the whole routine. You go in there, you open up your checking account. The next question they're going to ask you, do you want a savings account? Everybody want to say, yeah, but we don't think about whether that are we making any interest on that money. Now, most interest in a regular bank, a regular checking savings account is a 0.01010, not even a hundredth of it's no money. Okay, you may have $1,000 in there, and you might make interest maybe 25 cents. I don't know. It's nothing. So what I would suggest is open up you a high yield savings account in a different bank outside of your checking bank, because therefore you won't see it every day. Because for me, and I went through this myself, I had to learn. I would see my checking and my savings in the same bank, okay? And when my checking got low or in the negative, because it was there many times, I would pull it from the savings. So therefore, I never had savings because I was always pulling it to cover the checking, right? So if you put it in a separate bank, high yield, about 3 to 4% is a lot of them out there right now, then you don't see it. So therefore, you set it up on an automatic draft, automatically going there, out of sight, out of mind, and just let it grow there. That's the start of your investments, okay? And then once it get to a certain amount, say you want to, it's a step-by-step process, but you want to get at least 6 months worth of expenses in there. And then anything over that, you can start investing into other areas, maybe stock market, maybe real estate, maybe down payment on a home, whatever your financial goals is.
That is so true because that's what my financial advisor, he told me the same thing. So I end up doing that. My money, I'm like, I have this money in savings, but I'm getting 25 cents.
Yeah.
So what I did open up a high yield savings account, and I looked into that. I said, oh my God, I can't believe that I didn't do this a long time ago. And you're right. Put it in a different bank because you're right about that, boy. I say if it's in your checking and savings in the same account, you said, let me borrow from the savings account. And then it goes down. Very good advice. I really appreciate that. And I say, okay, I'm doing the right things.
Yes,
What I
ma'am.
need to do is pay myself. I need to start paying myself.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't do that. So how can someone start investing if they have little money to spare?
That's where you have to really sit down, and I call it a mindset shift. Okay. We got to decide in our mind what's more important, what's a priority in our money plan. You have to distinguish between your needs and your wants. Okay. A lot of times, if we really sit down and look at our money and look at our statements and things like that, a lot of the things in there are things that we want, because we in a want world right now. We want it, we're going to get it right now. We don't care if we got to put it on our credit card. We don't care. We want it. We're going to have it. Okay. It's a mindset shift. You have to shift your mind to say, okay, I want it, but let me think. Let me hold off 48 hours and see if I still gonna want it. Let me see if I really want it bad enough. Let me set up a money goal. Let me set up a goal for that item where I can save 20, 40, $50 every pay period until I get the money and I can pay cash for it. I ain't got to put it on a credit card, because that's a whole nother issue, putting stuff on a credit card and how much you really gonna pay for it. My advice would be to prioritize. You really have got to change your mindset and prioritize what's really important to you. Is it a need or is it a want?
That's a great way to do that. And I'm gonna start doing that 48-hour thing. Do I need
Yes.
this or what? But yeah, speaking of that, so what financial advice do you have for small businesses who are entrepreneurs?
Number one advice, and a lot of people probably know this if they're a seasoned business owner, is to separate your personal finances from your business finances. Now, if you are a brand new business, you might not know this because you might be what we call bootstrapping. We're using a lot of our personal finances to fund our business, which I do that too. But you have to learn how to do like a funds transfer. Transfer it from a personal account into a business account. Set you up a business account. If you run the business, you want to make sure it's legal. And Wanda can let you know about that. You need a LLC. Okay. Don't just be saying I got a business and you run it through a personal. No, that's not a true business. True business is a legal entity. And when you get that legal entity into place, then you go open up you a business checking account, okay? And run all your expenses through that business checking account and not in your personal, because that can get you into some tax trouble. And I'm not a tax person, but
Yeah.
when you get your business, also get you a good tax professional.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I just did our taxes with our tax professional, and she
Woo,
said,
honey.
so yeah, that's another thing. That-
Yes.
so how can a small business owner separate personal and business finance? And I think you already touched on that a little bit. So can you
Yeah, just
elaborate a little
make
bit
sure you
more?
have a separate checking account. And then if you can't afford, I was going to say a bookkeeper, you can definitely look online and get some bookkeeping software. QuickBooks is one, they're a popular one, but they can be a little expensive. Now, there's some out there that's free or some that's way less expensive than a QuickBook. Just do your research. Google, you can Google everything, YouTube everything, free accounting software, and make sure you get that downloaded on your computer, put in all your expenses so you can have a track record of all your spending, all the money that you're making, where the money going to. And another piece of advice I would give a small business owner is also have you a savings account for your business that you can use later on down the road for expansion, for marketing campaigns, for projects to grow your business. That's a mistake that I made. When you starting out, you're not making a whole lot of money. So a lot of times, a lot of the money you're making is going back into the business. But you have to be intentional and say, let me make sure I put a little bit in a savings account for later, especially for marketing. Marketing is very expensive when you start getting ready to grow your business. That's where I am right now with growing my business, and I'm having to put out a lot of marketing dollars. But if I had saved it from the beginning, I would have more to work with. But so that's a piece of advice for a business owner is to definitely save a little bit, save what you can in a business savings account.
Those are some great tips, and you are definitely hitting me in the face with a lot of this stuff.
You and me both, honey. Look,
I need to get a business savings guy. I do have a business account, but yeah, you're
yeah,
so right about that because with my marketing, it gets
yeah,
expensive, especially
yes.
if you're trying to grow your business, and then it may not pay off in the beginning, but still people are seeing what you're doing. So yeah, definitely, I agree with that. As far
Hmm.
as everything that you're doing here. So, what financial steps should couples take about before getting married?
That's a good one, Wanda. I tell you what, now this is another thing that I teach in my coaching program,
Mhm.
which is it's a financial focus framework. And the focus is an acronym. It's F is for face it, O is for organize, and C is for what? Communication. Okay. Number one thing that we have got to start doing with our money before we get married, okay, and that goes into marriage all throughout, is communication with your partner. Where is our money going? What you spending your money on? What's your credit? Or are you a heavy credit user or not so heavy credit user? What's your goals? Are y'all goal is to buy a house, buy a townhouse, buy a condo? How you want to retire? Okay, a lot of people need to start talking about that at the beginning of the marriage. You want to retire at 60 or 65 or 70 and 75, right? It's just so much. But the main thing is the communication about your money. And then don't forget this, because this is what I had to go through, is your parents, okay? As we get older, we don't know what our parents' financial situation is. Don't be scared to communicate with your parents and your in-laws about that. Where they living? How they living? What's their health situation? What's their life insurance situation? It's so many things that we need to discuss in our families that we have not been discussing in the past, which is the reason why I went through what I went through. And God said, no, we got to start talking about it. We got to start talking about it now. If you're getting married, that's one of the things I didn't have a privy to is what they call the marriage counsel. So if you are a marriage counselor, a therapist, a preacher, a minister, whoever, and if you are one of those people that counsel couples, please counsel them on communicating about their money. They want to talk to them about communicating about other life situations, the relationship, your feelings, and all that's good. That's good. But that money talk need to come in there too. Because money is one of the number one reasons for divorce. And I feel like if you had talked about it beforehand, you probably would know where each other are. because everybody have different perspectives on money. Everybody grew up differently with money. Like for me, I grew up, we didn't talk about money. For
Yeah.
children, children was supposed to stay in the child's place. We didn't ask our parents about money. We asked them, we would say we want something at the store, and they'd be like, you ain't getting it because we ain't got no money. That's what I used to hear all the time. Don't ask for nothing when you get in
Yeah.
this store.
And money don't grow on trees. That's what we always.
That's right. Money don't grow on trees. But that's a different way. Now, your partner might have grew up with a different thing where they might have sat around the kitchen table and talked about the money. And he knew where his parents' money came from. He was able to get the things that he wanted. So it's differences. So it's definitely communication is key.
And I tell me and my husband that it's the 4 C's: compromise, consideration, and commitment. Those are the
Okay.
4 C's that actually kept our marriage going here. And we
Absolutely.
got to work on it. But yeah, those I suggest that for your marriage, as for
Yeah.
marriage and you're getting married. So that's some great answers that you gave us, Lisa.
Yeah.
So let's talk about now. We're winding down here. Let's talk about one tip that you can give people to be able to be successful in their money management matters, and also your coaching. So tell us about that a little bit.
The one piece of advice I would give is to focus. Okay. God gave me the word focus last year, mid-year last year, and I created a whole coaching program around focus. God is saying we're not paying attention. We're not prioritizing. We're not thinking toward our financial future. Like I mentioned before, we in right now this I want it now world or this microwave world because we want it quick. And God is saying, no, let's slow down. Because what you want to do, you want to live life to the fullest, but you want to do it smartly. Okay. It's just like you can't go out here and skydive and without a parachute and think you're going to live. It's like you got to have some kind of protection. Protect yourself. Be prepared. Live your life. Live it to the fullest, but live it with some sense, some common sense, and then with some principles, financial principles that's smart, like the SMART goals. Y'all all heard of the SMART goals. So you want to set yourself up for success as well as set your family up for success, set your children up for success. A lot of things that I talk about in my program is the future, okay? Because you don't want something to happen and you're not ready and you're not prepared. We hope and pray that we live to see 80 and 90 years old, but the fact is we don't know if we will. The times that we're living in right now, and this really started back from years ago when they was having the mass shootings and things like that. Everybody was scared. You don't know if something people is having these mental issues and you're in that place and something happens to you and you're gone and you are the main breadwinner for your family. What is your family going to do if you don't come home that evening?
Mhm.
So it's all about just being prepared. It's not to scare you because I don't live scared. God don't want us to live in fear.
Yeah.
God did not give us the
Amen.
spirit of fear. If you haven't noticed, I talk about God because my business is biblically based. I wrote my book, Finding Favor with Your Finances, and that's the favor of God because that's what God gave me. He gave me favor as I journeyed through my financial journey. Thank God that I was able to do some things and move some things around when my father died, that I was able to pay for his funeral, but I lost his assets in that because I had to sell his assets, sell his land, sell his trailer, and then had to sell it for way lower than what it was worth. So that's another thing of being financially illiterate. We're not understanding how assets work and the value of the assets that we have. But anyway, in my book, I talk a little bit about that.
What is the name of your book? That's what I want
The
to do.
name of my book is Finding Favor with Your Finances, and it is available on Amazon, but I also have a link that I can share with you all. It's on my website as well at
Okay.
lisastringerbailey.com, or you can purchase it directly from me. And it's 7 principles to get you to financial security because my passion is the future. I want you to be financially secure not only now, but in your future. And if you're not here in your future, because then your family will be, your
Yeah.
children will be. So
Mhm.
it's not about right now, it's about leaving that financial legacy, you
Legacy. I
know,
love
for
legacy.
years to come.
Mhm. I love it how you bring God into it because it is so true that we need that and
Mhm.
to have faith. Because you gotta
Yes.
have faith to be able to deal with everything that's going on in this world today. And a lot of us live in
Yes.
fear. So
Mhm.
it's fear as far as the money. Do I have enough money to do this? So I love that you mentioned that and what you talk about. And you do coaching. So tell us about your coaching.
So I have a coaching program. It's called the Financial Focus Framework, and it is 6 weeks, maybe 7 weeks, depending on the client, because I really like to work with people and work where they are. If they need extra time, I'm willing to do that. But it's a 6 week program where every week we meet once a week and we talk about one letter of the word focus. So the first week normally is just an introduction, getting to know each other, writing out some money goals, what you want to get out of the program, things like that. Then the second week, we start diving in with the F, which is face it. Face your finances, face your issue, your circumstance. How'd you get here? Why'd you get here? It's a lot of mind work in face it. Okay. And then O is organized. That's the budgeting. That's the organizing, the money planning, setting goals again. How are we going to get there? What do you want to accomplish? Things like that. Then C again is the communication, dive real deep into communicating what we should be communicating and how to communicate with your family and your loved ones. And then the U is understanding your finances. This really goes into the vocabulary, what it means, what assets mean, what interest mean, what annual yield mean, all those type of things, understanding your finances. And then the S at the end is just success. How are you going to see success in your finances? Where you will be if you set these things into place, if you take action plans, if you go by your plan, live the plan, execute the plan, you will see success in your finances. And then, so at the end of the program, that's my hope, is that I have given you action steps that you can take right now and then continue it on. And then, of course, we are a partner. We collaborating now. Ready, set, collaborate. I don't just leave you. I'm one of them people that I want to be like family. We are partners in your financial situation because things change, right? So as time goes along, you can still be able to contact me and say, Lisa, this has changed. What you think about this? Ask me questions and just be like a family affair.
I love it. I love it. You got to send me those so I can put it in the show notes because I mean, focus and what they each means. But this has been awesome. I tell you, I really enjoyed this because you really gave a lot of information to our audience. And I suggest people to definitely connect with you to talk
Thank you.
about more as far as what you're doing because it does matter. In this day and age today, it does matter because you do want to leave a legacy. So thank you so much for being on Ready to Collaborate. But tell us how they can get in touch with you.
Absolutely. So my website is lisastringerbailey.com. You can catch me there. I'm on all the social medias at Lisa Stringer Bailey or Triple M Money Management Matters. I also have a YouTube channel, Money Management Matters. You can catch me there every week. I do a broadcast on Monday evenings called Monday Money Motivation. So I would very much like to motivate people in their money. Like I said, I do use the Bible. I use scripture to back up what I'm saying, to let people know that God cares about you and he cares about your money. And God wants us to be prosperous. He wants us to be abundant. He don't want us to be poor, even though the Bible does say there will always be poor among you. If you get your mind, if you focus, you ain't got to be the poor among us. Okay. You could be the rich. You could be the abundant. You can be the wealthy. So that's my
Yeah.
hope and prayer.
I love it. I love it how you bring that all into a little nutshell. But no, it really does matter as far as how we focus in on what's important and legacy. I always talk about the
Yes.
legacy matters because you have family that you want to leave it to. You want to have family that you want them to pick up things that you're teaching them as
Mhm.
they go along. But thank you,
Yes.
Lisa, for being on the, I was going to say money management show because I was,
Oh my God, speak that into existence, honey.
that's what I talk about collaboration. So yes, more,
Yay.
but thank you for being on the Ready, Set, Collaborate podcast. Audience, I really strongly suggest that you share and subscribe because it's going to be on YouTube as well. On my channel, Ready, Set, Collaborate podcast, we're Ready, Set, Collaborate with Wanda Pearson. And that way you can see all of the episodes that I have. I have some great guests, such as Lisa, that actually can teach you something. And I'm about educating and empowering. Lisa's about educating and empowering. So thank you once again, Lisa, for being on the Ready, Set, Collaborate podcast.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. You all have a great day.
Thank you.
That wraps up another episode of Ready, Set, Collaborate with Wanda Pearson. I hope you found inspiration and valuable insights to help you build meaningful connections and successful collaborations. If you enjoyed today's conversation, be sure to subscribe, share, and stay tuned for more great discussions. Until next time, keep collaborating and making an impact.